Hello, everybody. Welcome in our webinar on 1 year PRONATEC production and powder tasting. My name is Yannick Rihs. I'm the plant manager of the PRONATEC production site in Beringen-Schaffhausen. We are just near the Rhine Fall, which is a very well-known touristic spot in Switzerland. So today we will just have a small review of what happened in the last years since we started the production here in Beringen, and then I will explain a couple of things to you, and then have a look into this powder thing. So we started production last year in June, at the beginning of June. We are the first exclusive organic cocoa processing factory in, I would say, in the world. We processed only organic cocoa since the start, and we will further only process organic cocoa. We have a 100% batch separation, also for butter, for powder, for mass, for everything. We have also a full traceability because the first one enables the second one. If you have a clear batch separation, then you know where your beans have come from or where they go. And we are also able to accommodate smaller productions and bigger ones. And of course, you will see it. We have a very fanciful combination of my feeling, every single certification existing in the world. And of course, something that PRONATEC does already a long time is the direct sourcing and smallholder farmers. So it's not just that we know in our plant which beans that we tipped in the tipping station come out as butter or powder in this lot, but also where these beans come from over the world, in Dominican Republic, in Peru, Madagascar, wherever. So here you see it. I mean, basically the whole supply chain or the value chain from PRONATEC, from the field through, with all the quality controls, all the certification controls and everything, through the whole export logistics and the resale afterwards. Now the transformation of semi-finished product is in-house. It used to be done outside our company, but now it's really done in-house, that we have even more control over the quality of our product. What we do, so it's a cocoa factory. It's not a chocolate factory. So we produce cocoa mass, different origins. We'll see the origins afterwards. We produce butter and powder. Of course, if you produce butter, then you produce powder, and vice versa. Our cocoa masses are normally always single origins. This is our in-house philosophy, but we are also able to make mixes if that's your wish. We have a very pure and very good cocoa butter with very good crystallization indexes, and very nice cocoa powders with nice aroma, and of course this with a very smooth nips roasting system that enables us to redesign the recipes how we want them or how you want them. So here a bit about the history. So if I look back in January 22, we were 8 people and 4 from them were new employees. And it was still a time where we finished the assembly of the whole line. It was especially regarding electric cabling. We used 3,500 cables to wire everything. We also there were also utilities like water and these kind of things that needed to be connected to the machines. And then in March, we put the first beans in the plant and started really commissioning one machine after the other. And there already the quality was absolutely important, because what we wanted is to make sure that even the first bean that enters the plant gets out as a semi-finished product without any quality issues. And that's something we achieved. So each and every lot that entered the plant, even during the commissioning, was with absolutely no quality issues, so everything high quality. And you will see afterwards, it was also already everything certificated, so it was really nice. And then for 1 year, we took over basically the plant from the supplier. It was the formal takeover, because you will see also in the next slide that during the commissioning, we are already able to deliver products to our customers. And then as of June, we started first with the 2-shift system until people were very confident with the plant. And then from the mid of October 22 with the 3-shift system. And now we are still running 3 shifts from Sunday night to Friday evening. And now, since the beginning of the year, really optimizing all the processing steps to generate the best throughput with the best quality. You see also the evolution of the number of employees. So we are almost 5-fold the number of people we were at the beginning of the year, because as we as we wanted to reach more throughput and more products, we needed more people, and we wanted to make sure that people have time to learn. So, because of course people are absolutely central to the high quality of the product that we deliver. And now we are 38 people. It's quite a big number, but I think it's now working pretty well. Everyone knows what he has to do in order to deliver the best quality. A couple highlights. So the first one, I promised you we have a nice patchwork of certifications. So you see there are more certifications on this slide than I was aware that existed, and we are able to produce and guarantee all these certificates in our plant. Also with the cocoa beans, so we are we are ready. That's the first thing we did. The first audit we had was I call it Bio Plus or Organic Plus certification, because we had, I think, 2 or 3 audits to get all these certificates through. We also, of course, have produced halal and kosher. And so that was one, and also a very highlight for our QS team and the production team. Also for the production team, it was very important to understand the framework in which they produce, and I think this we achieved very well. And then what we also wanted is to have no compromise on food safety. So we pre-certificated the plant on food safety on the 21st of April, and on the 18th of May we had the first butter delivery in liquid form, which was I think very real highlight. Before, we already produced cocoa masses in boxes, but the really first butter went in with the truck out. End of June, so for almost 1 year, we had the first mass going out in liquid form, which was also, I think, was very proud. And what we did, which was very exciting for me, beginning of July last year, we did the first common recipe development with the customer. So until this date, we would always do PRONATEC recipes. These are recipes that I developed in the lab and then did in a big one. But there was really the first, together with the customer, with their beans, developing a recipe. And with the same customer we did several times, and with other customers. Yesterday we had a new customer for a new origin with a new type of roasting, and I think it went very well. I'm very excited to get their feedback. And then in September we had the first certification, because the FSSC, you first do a pre-certification, and then you had the real first certification where they check that all the production and processes and quality check processes are really completely square, and it worked very well. We had a couple minor points that we needed to adjust, but otherwise I think the auditor was very, very happy what he saw. And as of the end of last year, we already had processed 5,000 tons of cocoa beans, which is quite a big number actually, and that's really nice to see. Also, yeah, how this went. And what also was my very high pride with the team and everyone is that we were able to meet all the delivery dates over until now. So that's a really cool thing. Voilà, here you see a couple origins. I mean, basically all the origins that we have processed so far. I'm looking forward to get your challenges to process some of your origins. If there is something that you want, something special, or even one of the origins here, but the way you want them to be roasted is something that we can do. Or if you are happy with our recipes, then we are also very happy. And here a message from David, who couldn't join us today. And the question asked was, what makes us unique? And I think, well, he's absolutely right. We are exclusively organic, and that's really like this. So each and every bean that entered this factory until today was certified organic, and all the beans that will come in the future will also be certified organic. That's always the first thing that the QS and quality management checks is, do we have an organic certificate? Yes, so okay, they are allowed to enter. And what also is the flexibility. I mean, we are really able to beat regarding the taste that you want to have. I mean, if it's possible, then I would believe that we will achieve it. And also the way we plan, the way, I mean, you can call today, and I had once a customer calling and say, well, could you deliver me 20 tons of butter this afternoon? Okay, it's maybe pushing the flexibility a bit, but we were able to deliver him 20 tons 2 days later. So it's not bad, I would say, if you're used to have to order your butter 6 months prior. Voilà. Then a couple customer feedbacks. So we see that the butter, our cocoa butter, is the absolute highlight. That's something I wanted to make sure that we manage the butter very smoothly through our factory, because I designed the process and I had really butter quality in mind, and this was really achieved. We have very, very clear butter, very neutral butter, and a very high crystallization index. So it crystallizes very, very well, which is really super. Makes very good chocolate. And we also saw that customized customer recipes are very popular. So anyone can come to us and say, okay, I would like to have this or that, and principle we are able to deliver. And the flexibility, we have a very short planning period, so it means that we are really able to put what you want, even if it's not next week or the week after. It might be possible to get, but for sure for the next month you will get it. And what's very interesting is, at least in Switzerland, we had non-organic customers asking for our butter. One reason is, of course, the traceability, because we are really able to have a thorough traceability also on butter, the high quality of the butter, and also for Swiss people, for Swiss chocolate, then the Swissness of our butter. So that's cool to hear. Here, a testimonial from Marcel Lehmann. Maybe you know him from Chocolat Stella Bernheim, who addresses you a message.
Wir von Chocolastella Bern Rhein sind hoch erfreut, dass sich PRONATEC entschieden hat, in der Schweiz in einen Produktionsstandort zu investieren. Das bringt für uns sehr viele Vorteile, weil wir in der Vergangenheit haben wir vor allem bei den Rohstoffen, beim Rohstoffeinkauf zusammengearbeitet. Und neuerdings mit der eigenen Produktionsanlage können wir zusammen Röstprofile entwickeln. Wir kriegen eine hervorragende Kakaobutterqualität, die wir normalerweise von Lieferanten aus der EU nicht kriegen. Und sehr spannend ist, dass die Nähe zu unserer eigenen Fabrik, das sind 45 Minuten mit dem Auto, so können wir jeweils während der Produktion uns mit PRONATEC treffen, ein Röstprofil verändern, wirklich individuell auf Kakaobohnen, Batches eingehen. Das ist für uns ein sehr, sehr großer Vorteil.
Yeah, sustainably cocoa processing, is it really possible? Well, I would say yes, and I think we are on the good way. So I think the first thing is also that it's really 100% organic. So we don't have problems with mixing and having to flush the line or whatever. Everything is organic, so it also helps, comes from controlled production, and so we are sure that on the sourcing side we are the most sustainable way possible. We have a pretty new plant with suppliers having a lot of ideas about energy efficiency, so this is for sure also something we put a lot of thoughts on energy efficiency. We have also separate temperature zones that we don't have to cool the very high warm, or things that can stay warm, and things that have to be cooled are cooled down. I even integrated an additional water circuit through the plant, which enables me to cool some of the main processes directly with the atmospheric cooling, instead of going through a cooling machine to save energy there. At least in winter, works. Now with 30 degrees outside, it's a bit more complicated, but yeah, we have heat recovery systems everywhere where we can to make sure that, and we use really very few water heating, because we are able to work with heat recovery. And we also have a real-time monitoring of our energy consumption to make sure everything is okay. And what we also have is a waste gas treatment to make sure that the neighbors don't get too much cocoa flavor. But they like it. They like our plant. They were here in September last year. They really enjoyed it. And so they said, sometimes a bit of a cocoa note, but I like it. So it's very much okay. Voila. What also came with this project was an increase in the efficiency, basically, of the transport. So we are now able to transport the beans on water up to Basel, and then make the last short trip with the truck to bring it to the factory. I mean, the rainfall are just 1 kilometer away, but they are not allowed to come with the ship up, or with the barge up to there. Otherwise, we could almost get our cocoa beans there. What we also do is that if we can, because sometimes we're not able to go with the barge, so we would put the truck on the train and go with the train up to some place here in Switzerland, and then from there come with the truck here, also to lower the CO2 output. And what we also have done, at least for the Yacao beans, so the ones that we come from our sister company in Dumrep, which represents about 2/3 of our volumes, instead of going into bags and then into big bags, we directly fill the beans into the big bags, and which avoids waste of bags. And we are now looking at a system to recycle these big bags, to really waste as few big bags as possible. Okay, so now is the time for questions. You can ask the questions in the chat. I don't know whether some questions have already arrived.
Oh.
Okay.
Question.
So if you don't have any questions regarding this, then we can switch to the cocoa powder tasting. And if you still have questions during the cocoa powder tasting about the plant and everything, then it's no problem. You can still ask them. I will stay here. And well, so thank you very much for the attention. And now we will switch. Hello again. Now we are going to cocoa powder tasting. So it's not just about tasting, it's a complete sensoric check of our cocoa powder. And we will start with the visual check. And this works like that. So my tip to you, my advice is first to fold the sheet. So you should have a white sheet, so take really white paper, and then I'll show you this, I think like that. I don't see myself. Okay, so I think it's okay. Now you just fold basically the sheet of paper in front of you. This will help because if you do it when the powder is on, it's very, very difficult. So first start with this and then put the powder on it. So here, then we open it again and then we take the spoon. I inverted here, I have 2A and here I have 1A, and just that you see it here. So you take a bit of powder, then you put it on the left hand side of the sheet. Then you take another spoonful of the 2A, you put it in the middle, and you can switch the spoon, and then put 1A right next to the 2A in the middle, and one at the on the right hand side. And so when you close the sheet, you see it's a lot easier when it's pre-folded, and then you can plate it like that, voila, and then open it again. And you should always check powder this way. If you want to compare, you can put 3, 4, 5 next to one another and then make them flat. Because if you look in the cups or so, it's difficult to assess the color. And by doing it this way, actually, you're really able to see the differences. And if we look at the differences, so on the left side, I have a powder which is slightly lighter and a bit yellowish. And on the right side, I have powder which is darker and more brown. This is for low-fat powders, 10% rest fat, 10 to 12% rest fat in the powder. In the 20%, it will be, the differences will be bigger, and you will really see them more in terms of color. It's more intense in the coloration. So now we will go back to voila, and now have a look at the olfactory check. So here it's also good to have a cup or a glass or something, and then to hold it as far away from the lid as possible, so that you don't smell your hands, but that you smell your really the content of the, in this case, an espresso tass works cup. It works very, very well. And my advice to you is to inhale very deeply, but not fast. Otherwise, you will have all the powder in the nose, and then you will have to sneeze. So just empty your lungs, and then very slowly inhale deeply. Voila. And so you have, I would say, a first impression. If you're not very used to the method, it might be difficult to really get an impression. So let's try it with the 1A, the other one, and try again the same and not too fast. Voila. And then you get, I would say, from both different impression. There was the advice to use coffee. So if already you have the feeling from the first try, oh, my nose is completely, there is too much, then take a bit of coffee, and this will neutralize basically the smell. And then you wait a couple seconds and then try the second one. We also sent to you the flavor wheel from the Cocoa of Excellence initiative. And there you see the kind of let's say, of effects that it can have. Of course, bitterness, astringency, and acidity you wouldn't get with the nose, but the other ones are all smells that you can maybe identify. I would say the big difference between this one is the natural, so the 2A is a natural, and the 1A is an alkalized powder. We come afterwards on what's the difference. So the 2A, the natural powder, is usually more fruity, so it has a real cocoa note. And the smell is usually a bit narrower in the effect. And the alkalized powder, which would be 1A in our case, is a more chocolatey. That's the goal of this powder, is to get chocolatey and to have a bit of a rounder smell. And maybe for the very fine nose, you would see something a bit like mineral or metallic, which is this alkaline taste or smell. In the taste, you will probably feel it more. Voila. Now we go to tasting, because actually it's all about tasting. So let's go to tasting. We have 3 methods. There is a dry method. So there you just take some powder and eat it. You have a method where you dissolve it in water and then drink it. And then you have the method where you dissolve it in water and add some sugar and then drink it. We here at PRONATEC, we always use the dry method. The reason is very simple. When we do sensoric checks of the product, because all the products that leave the factory, we do a sensory check. Also, all the beans that enter the factory get controlled. We usually taste butter, mass, maybe 2 masses, 2 butter and 1 powder, or 2 powder, 1 mass, and so on. And so we want to have everything on the same level of strength. And so, of course, the cocoa powder, when it's pure, it's stronger. So you can eat this, then eat some cocoa mass, and it's okay. You don't get the shock. And the problem is, if you add sugar, then either you first taste the mass and then the powder with sugar, and then it's just sweet because you don't feel anything else. Or the other way around, you have the sweet powder and then the cocoa mass, and then it's just bitter and sour. So that's the reason why we decided to go on the dry tasting. And I have to say I'm still very happy now 1 year later with this decision. So I would advise first to have just a bit of water. I hope you did not just drink your coffee, otherwise you won't feel much. Voilà. Then you keep the wheel next to you, and then we will try. First 2A, okay? So the first one, we take 2A, and really like on the picture, take just the tip of the spoon if you're not very used to it, otherwise it might get a shock through your system, and just taste it. And take your time, okay? And just go inside yourself and try to feel what's happening. So if I inspire myself with this wheel, what do I see? There's kind of sequences. So first, what at least what I felt was the acidity on the tongue. I could really see, okay, now there's something acidic. It's not like a lemon or something, but it's really acidic, and kind of bitterness, maybe even astringency that that dries a bit the mouth. And then there was something else, or some kind of bit of a roasty note, and something maybe a bit fruity or so. And if I see now afterwards, what do I feel? Well, there is this slight bitterness there that I still can perceive. And actually, it's about there where you land with the powder. So after 2-3 minutes, actually, the effects are getting lighter. Well, maybe there was something a bit nutty at some point. Now we'll try the 1A. So first, rinse. Like at the dentist, really, that everything goes out so that we can try the next one. And the next one, we also take just the tip of the spoon. So, yeah, so I think the effect is very different. So up front, there was not this acidity. So it was different. Then it would rather transmit it to some kind of bitterness, but not the same level as before. And then we had more of a chocolatey note, and maybe something a bit so mineral or so, which comes from the alkaline product. What I feel now is that my mouth is maybe more full. So I have like really this mouth feel of a round taste, and in the aftertaste it's a lot less bitter and more like chocolate when I eat chocolate, and this is very typical from an alkalized product. So now, what's the difference in processing? When we process natural powder, what we do is that we actually produce a mass, like a cocoa mass for chocolate, and then we press it. And what you get in taste is a lot less chocolatey and a lot more fruity, which is basically the natural taste of a cocoa powder. That's the reason why the name is natural powder. And if we take the alkalized one, so the alkalized means an addition of alkaline product. In our case, it's potassium carbonate that we add during the roasting, and we leave it work. So the thing that you see here on the slide is that the pH is different because an alkaline product will increase the pH, so make it less acidic. That's also what we feel. It's not that acidic as the other one. And it will also give to the product, even to the powder, this kind of chocolatiness, which is less present in a natural powder. So the natural powder will have more of a cocoa taste, and the alkalized product or the alkalized powder more a chocolatey taste. Now let's see what we do with these powders. So in case of the natural powder, the main use is actually for compounds. So compounds bars, or make some ganache or these kind of things that that are mixed with maybe more sugar and other ingredients, where the chocolate taste is less important, and more this fruitiness and so on. We can also use it for baking. And the cool thing with this is that you can use it with baking soda because the pH is 5.5. So the baking soda will react with the powder. So you don't need a baking powder, but you can use baking soda. What's here very important, I would say, is that you want more of a fruity taste, not necessarily a chocolatey taste. And of course, where the dark color is not very relevant. I mean, if you put it in water and so, you will see it darkens, or in oil also, it will get dark, but it's maybe not that important. And now what with the alkalized product? So mainly it's for drinks and ice creams where we want a chocolatey note. So we don't want the cocoa note, but really the chocolate note. And so if I have a chocolate drink, which I do with cocoa powder, then I will choose a alkalized powder because it's more chocolatey. And also for ice creams, it's also important. But you can also use it for baking, but there you need to be careful and use baking powder, because the baking powder has both components, the acidic one and the alkaline one. And when you add water, then they will react with one another. And there, the alkalized product is more used where we want a chocolatey note and where we want maybe a darker color. Because typically in ice creams, you want this dark brown and not this gray brownish, which comes from natural powders. And what we also have at PRONATEC, as well for natural as for alkalized powder, are low cad powders. What's important there? I mean, cadmium enters naturally into the cocoa tree from the soil. Into the fruit. That's a natural process. It's like that. And in some soils, cadmium is less or not present. In some, you have high concentration of cadmium, which is a heavy metal, which are taken up by the plant. And so we have some powders who are low cad powders. The thing is, EU and US regulations limit the quantity of cadmium in products that goes to the consumer. So if you have a beverage powder, for instance, a chocolate beverage powder, then it has to fulfill the cadmium requirement. Even if everyone will dissolve it in milk or in water, no one would eat this drink powder like that, but still it has to comply. And also, direct, for instance, baking cocoa powders, they also need to be within the limits, even if people will mix it with flour and whatever. But as soon as it goes to the customer, it has to fulfill the requirements of the cadmium limit. And so we are able to deliver on that. Voila. So I came to the end of the tasting of the powder. So I don't know whether there are already some questions, or if you have some questions. If you need support also to choose, or you want to try different powders, then contact PRONATEC. Our salespeople are very well trained on these differences and the kind of applications. So if you have an application, we will find the right powder for your application. Okay. So if it's not the case, then I wish you a very, I don't know where you are on the world. In any case, a good morning, a good noon, or a good afternoon, or a good night. And don't hesitate to contact us if you have anything you want to share. Bye-bye.